Hey guys, Matt McDonald, your National Service Director here. So I'm here to explain to you guys how to fertilize the lawn as part of the fall rejuvenation process. Okay, so here we have our spreader, which I already have set up. Now this is a commercial spreader. You guys are going to have a residential spreader, which is a little bit smaller and better for these small lawns. Okay, so once we have it loaded up with the fertilizer here, you're going to have a setting. The setting is going to obviously set how much fertilizer comes out at the time of the fertilizing. So you will be instructed on which setting to keep it on, and it's very important not to mess with the settings because we want all these lawns to get the correct amount of fertilizer. Okay, so when you are fertilizing the lawn, a few things that you always want to keep in mind is you never want to have the spreader open and turned on when you're stopped. Okay, so when you're ready to start, I usually rock the spreader a little bit, and then on this one, all you got to do is flick it open in order to get the bottom open and the fertilizer dropping. Okay, so I always make sure I have it in motion before I flick it on, and I always keep my hand in this spot here just in case for some reason I got to stop it if I hit a tree root and it stops me from moving. Okay, so you always want to be aware of your fan, of how wide that the spreader is actually spreading, because if I'm going to spread on this lawn here and I start right against the bush here, I'm going to be covering about 3 feet into the garden. Okay, so knowing that, I'm going to always set up, if I'm going to start going this way, I'm going to set up with that 3 feet spread out so that it's actually going to cover the grass. All right, so when you're ready to go, like I said, you just rock it a little bit, get ready, you flick it on, but always make sure that you stop the spreader before you stop walking. Okay, you don't want to end up stopping, the spreader's going down, and you're going to get an eventual pile up and a burn spot on the lawn. Okay, and it's also important to make sure that you're keeping a constant speed throughout, and always keep the spreader at the same height. You don't want to have the spreader going like this or up at certain times, because you're going to get an uneven spread across the lawn. Okay, so I'm going to do a strip on this front lawn here, and you're going to see how I'm keeping my distance so that the spread is going to cover up to the garden. Now with fertilizer, you don't actually have to worry too much about getting it in the garden, because it's not like a seed that's going to grow in someone's nicely done garden. So I'm going to get it going right here. You guys will see what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm ready to go. My fan is going to cover up to the bush. I make sure to flick it on, and we're going. So as you can see, as I was coming to the end here, I didn't come all the way to the end with the spreader on, but my fan was covering all the way to the end. So keep a good eye on what your spreader is actually spreading to, and always go to the property line. Okay, so once you're done the first loop around, you want to keep going again. You want to try and remember where your fertilizer actually went, so you're not overlapping too much. Okay, you got to keep the spread even. So my fan probably covered out to about here. So I'm going to start again and get this front lawn done in only 2 passes. Okay? So that's pretty much the entire front lawn, other than this little part I got to do here. So just the main things. Always make sure that you're flicking it on and off at certain times. You don't want to cause pileup, and always be aware of where your fan is spreading, so we're not going to overlap too much and over fertilize the lawn. All right, so that's the fertilizer right there. Next up, we'll see you for the seeding.